Good afternoon everybody, budget guitarist at it again. My name's Martin. So a mate of mine's given me this Laney amp. It's a Tube fusion300 and I'm guessing the Tube fusion bit is working a little bit like the good old valve states, where somewhere in here there is a tube or valve in the preamp, but this thing is absolutely filthy. Now it does work. I turned it on earlier. The pots are incredibly crackly and the spring reverb, it's got real spring reverb in the back, but that's not working. So the plan is to completely strip this down, give it a good clean, try to find out why the reverb's not working, back together again, and see if we can turn it back into a great sounding amp. But yeah, it's just very dirty. I don't know where this thing's been, but anyway, I'm gonna sort it out. So what I need to do is completely remove the chassis, the actual amp bit from the cabinet, and disconnect the speaker. Fortunately I can just disconnect it here and that's the speaker disconnected, but what I normally do that helps out is if I've got to disconnect the speaker from the top bit, is I'll take a picture so I can see which wires go into which part of the speaker. So that's yeah, that's that. Speaker is well, no, it's not disconnected. I just need to pull it off that little hook thing there, and it should come straight off. There's a spring reverb in the bottom, like my Laney Tube amp. It looks like it's the same spring reverb. It's like wrapped in a piece of leather or tolex or whatever that is. It's like a leather pouch. At some point that's going to be coming out. I'll take a look at that as well. I've got the spring reverb out. I had to tear this this bit of leather because it was wrapped in this and then stapled to the bottom. I think what I'm going to do is when I put this back in, is just screw it to the base of the cabinet. Use through these. You can see there in the corners that all the springs are attached. There's nothing rattling around inside, so the springs are still intact. I'm guessing the problem is coming out the amp, not necessarily the reverb thing. So, but yeah, and again, I'll take a picture of these two so I remember which way they go. So it was white on that side and red on that one. If you've never seen what the inside of a reverb tank looks like, here it is. So we've got the springs here, and then these are mounted to a plate that are suspended by springs in each corner. Now looking at this, it's like it should be. It's yeah, it's actually suspended, which gives it the makes the reverb happen, I think. Let's have a see. Is it one of those acoustic ones? Yeah, it is. It's the Acoustitronics ones, and serial number. So the good buddy of mine, Tony, says you read the serial number. What the serial number is saying is the serial number of this plus the impedance and the values of the springs inside. But yeah, that's why the serial number looks kind of strange. It's not just the serial number, it's telling you about the impedance inside the reverb tank. That's a reverb. Next thing I want to do then is obviously take out the chassis. So there's four screws on top, two here, and then one on each side. There we go. So just need my trusty Phillips, take them off. Now you want to be careful when you get to this bit, because even though it's unplugged, there's a power lead and stuff, and the last time I turned it on was like last night, is these big walking capacitor things can actually be holding a charge. There is a way you can put the charge straight to ground to get it to sort of go straight away. I can't remember how to do that properly. So basically what I do is I just don't touch them or avoid touching them. So if I'm just looking at them, I'm just literally just giving them a quick visual inspection just to see, you know, they're not bulging or there's nothing sort of leaking out of them. I'm checking the other components just as I go. What I'm looking for is any sign of overheating, any charring on the circuit board. Everything looks okay. It's a little bit grubby. I mean, there's a big spider's web there. There's some creeper crawlers living inside here. But so this bit looks okay. I've actually got bias here now for the reverb. Maybe twiddling with that might kickstart, get the reverb working again. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a bit of Google searching and find out is that what that does. Because yeah, it's only got a valve in the preamp section, which is, if I just spin it around, is this bit here. Now I'm looking at that, and it's got like a, I don't know what sort of valve it is, but I think it's, I mean, it looks okay. Again, I've got no equipment to truly test it, and this little, whatever that is, it's this paper wrap on it is it's gone mouldy, so I can't even see the inside of the valve. But a telltale sign if you've got an issue with your valve is if you see this this top bit, top of the valve, it's like a shiny silver. If somehow the glass is cracked and air's been allowed to get inside, then this bit will turn white. It will no longer be shiny. So I'm not going to mess about with this too much because it looks pretty old, but it's still silver. So I'm just going to assume for now that this is fine. I think it is because I turned it on yesterday just to see if, you know, I got some sound out of it, and yeah, it worked fine clean, it worked fine dirty on the driven channel, and it was very loud, so I think valve is okay. The only fault, like I said, I sort of identified was the reverb wasn't working. These are the two, so this is the reverb out, so it's these two wires here that come off this left and right down the bottom, come out the bottom of the cab, and these are the two ends there that plug into the reverb. So I'll inspect the two leads and then check the connector, and also have a look at this, where did I see it now, this bias thing here, there we go, it's weird. Yeah, this bias thing, to see whether that's anything to do with the reverb. It could be, or it might not be, but I'm going to have to do some Googling. What I really want to do is remove this speaker, because I want to take this cab outside and give it a proper clean. There's no way I'm tackling this in my room because it's absolutely disgusting. But you can see, you know, on the speaker chassis, the metal bits, that it's quite perished, and under, just around this lip here, in between the wood and the rim of the speaker, is a piece of foam. Now chances are that is perished, but because it's still attached, it's not a problem. The last thing I want to do is remove these nuts, pull the speaker, and then have it all stick to it, perish and crack and stuff. If it's fitted for now and it's getting sound out the speaker, then I'm going to leave the speaker mounted to this front plate, and I'm just going to remove these two screws from the wooden frame, which will let the front of the amp come off, and I'll just be left then with the box, so I can then go and clean that. And I'll give this a bit of polish as best I can, but really want to be avoiding any, you know, anything intense with this, because this is quite old, and this bit here, it's made of paper. The last thing I want to be doing is, you know, poking a hole in that bit, and the whole thing will be knackered then. So I'm gonna take the front face off, is what I'm doing next. Right, so we are outside. Got my trusty scrubbing brush, and this is water with just a tiny bit of disinfectant in it. Hopefully it's going to be enough just to lift all this grime out of the grain, if it's got paint on it and stuff. And yeah, because it's chipboard as well, part of me just wanted to use the hose pipe and just completely blast it, but because it's chipboard and the tolex is cracked and stuff, the last thing I want is any water getting inside the chipboard. So I think scrubbing brush and water bottle is better than the hose pipe for this. Right, I'm gonna give it a scrub. Right, there it is now. I got it a little wetter than I wanted it to, but it's not completely wet through. I think the wood survived. But now I'm going to bring it inside and just let it dry in front of, I've got a radiator because I can put that on low, let it dry. Not too concerned if the tolex keeps coming off because I've got some glue, you know, I can stick that back on once it's dry. But it absolutely stinks of dog wee. Probably explains why Benji was so excited about this amp. I think at some point in this amp's life a dog's cocked its leg and I'm weed in the back, because that's what I'm getting. And there's a lot of all these black bits here. It's disgusting. That's animal fur. Dog, I think it's dog fur. Yeah. Anyway, it's all gone now and it's going to be lovely once it's done. Right, now I know I said I didn't want to remove this speaker, but I think because of the dog wee situation in that thing, I really do want to give this a good clean front and back with the speaker removed. So if you see here, so it looks like it's held on with little nuts. I'm going to undo the nut, just get them out. I don't think I've got a spanner that size, but I've got a pair of pliers that should do it. Yeah, pair of pliers. It all came off in one piece. Thankfully, this is the little foam seal I was telling you about. It's actually not perished. I was expecting it to be stuck to this and it'd all rip off into pieces, but no. Obviously we've got the build up of the dust in the bottom of the cone here, but top of it's all right. And now there's no grill on it, I can have a proper visual inspection now just to see there's no tears or cracks or anything like that. And again, a good buddy of mine, because I don't have all the proper equipment to test audio speakers and stuff, and he said a good starting point to do is if you look inside the speaker, you've got this hang on, let's get some light in it now. Just in the top bit there, see that weird bit, like a beigey colour with rings around it. So that bit is that's the bit inside the speaker that does this, that oscillates, that then moves this and creates the sound. Now what you can do is gently push on that, you know, all the way around. You just want to try and push it up, and you're feeling for it. You don't want it to sort of catch on anything. If it sounds like it's going like it's scraping against something, then chances are the driver's knackered, the speaker's actually knackered. But I'm just checking it, you know, top, bottom, left and right, where I can get my hands in. And all I'm doing just to test this is that bit up there, that orangey bit, I'm just pushing upwards towards the magnet, left, right, up, top, bottom, left and right, just to see there's no resistance and it's not snagging on anything, it's not catching on anything. And there wasn't, so far so good. I guess it just needs to clean up. So because this is the magnet here, and I can see already there's bits of iron filings and stuff stuck on it. I'm gonna try and get those off, clean this bit first, and then wrap it in masking tape, and then give the rest of it a good good polish up, because what I don't want to do is polishing this bit and then run the risk of any sort of metal shavings or filings ending up sticking to the magnet. You're just constantly cleaning. It's just not fun. Got this off now then, so I can take this outside now and give it a good scrub and get rid of that smell of dog wee. Nice. Right, on to cleaning driver speaker. So I'm using good old faithful WD-40. I'm going to start from the top bit. I don't even know, but WD-40 is an absolute mega metal polish. Yeah, it does a good job at polishing most surfaces, to be honest. I think that's all I'm going to do with this, is just give it a good polish on the outside. I changed my mind about sanding these bits, as I really don't want to get any stuff on this magnet. Well, the WD-40 has not done much except from just sort of like make it a little bit shinier. There's still left with all this stuff here, so I'm going to try a bit of tea cut on my cloth, see if I can just sort of shine it up a little bit and get rid of some of these bits. It's probably where the dog wee's been. It's a little bit cleaner. The tea cut couldn't get these bits off here, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I've got nothing more abrasive than, in fact I don't want to use anything more abrasive than tea cut, because I really don't want anything getting on this magnet, so I'm going to leave that now. I did dust the inside of the driver, so it's looking okay now. I'll set this to one side while I'm waiting for those bits to dry. Make a start on that. Some very odd goings on. They've got slightly different, so these have got them on, these ones haven't. That one's black and that one's got it's almost like a mix match, a mismatch. That's what I'm looking for. A mismatch of stuff. Because at first I thought, oh, is it pulling this bit off? But it's not. So if you look down that, you can see that that's got a split right down the centre. So if that was hiding underneath there, then I would see it through the gap. It's definitely got different bits. I'm wondering if the pots are actually different as well, if that's the different kind of pots, different. They all look the same to me. This great thing, see, they've all got these little holes here. That's where I'm going to spray inside the contact cleaner, just to clean them up a little bit on the inside, because they are very crackly, and some of them you can actually feel as you turn. You can hear that one. Yeah, that crackly thing is actually coming from the pot turning. Right, let's give it a good clean, I guess. There you go. Amazing what a little bit of polish will do. Now we can actually read the values. We can actually read what each knob's doing, and yeah, I've got rid of all that grime. The bits that are left, so these little bits here, I think it's surface rust just coming through this. So what I don't want to do is, I don't want to be scrubbing it too much, because I don't want to start removing the paint. So that's as much scrubbing as I want to do with that, because it's rust is bubbling through. But on the face of it, it doesn't look too bad, and I've got all the knobs and stuff just soaking in some warm water with a little bit of what do you call it, ferro liquid, and my trusty Doom Bar glass. Oh, it'd be so awesome if I was sponsored by Doom Bar. Maybe you guys could make that happen for me. Right, there we go. It's dry, which is nice. Now what I'm gonna try is a trick I stole off another guy on the YouTube. I'll tag him in comments. To be fair, it's his channel that sort of like give me the confidence to completely tear amps apart and have a look and try, restore and stuff. But I'll bang it link in comments to his channel. Check it out. He's always fixing stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna try. So you see the tolex, at one point in its life it would have been black and shiny and lovely, and you can see over time where it's just grey and dull. So I'm gonna get these white bits off, and I'm gonna use boot polish, black boot polish. I'm going to just keep layering it on to make it blacker, and then eventually it'll start to shine again. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try now. Just look at that for a difference. It almost looks brand spanking new. So all I need to do now is, I put quite a few layers on, is once it's sort of like dry and it's not coming off in my hand, I just buff it off with another brush. I did the same, totally not necessarily, but that's the inside of where the driver goes. Did the same there. So when you look in the back of the amp, it looks clean and tidy and stuff. And this bit here it's that bottom bit there. But again, that's had the same boot polish. So boot polish trick, 100%. So effective. Right, it's all dry now. So just like you would have a pair of shoes, all I'm doing now is buffing. You can see now that shine's starting to come back, and it's not coming off on my hands. So impressed with the boot polish trick. Yeah, I'm going to do the full thing now and start getting it all back together. First thing I've done is fitted the reverb tank. Now I've just used some self-tapping screws and fitted it directly to the bottom of the board. It's purely my opinion. I just think it looks cooler when you can see the tank, whereas before it was inside like a leather pouch and it was just filthy. So anyway, that's that in. Right, so it's all back together, the Laney Tube Fusion 300. Now, what I think this amp's trying to do is be very similar to the Marshall Valve State series of amps, where it was the gap in between a solid state amp and a full tube driven amp. So they came in at the sort of middle. You were getting tube sound cheaply, because there's a, similar to the Valve States, there's a tube in the, no sorry, a valve in the preamp, which gives it that nice tubey sound. This ain't mine, so I fixed it up and give it a good clean for a good friend of mine, and guess it's now time to see what it sounds, hear what it sounds like. I don't know whether I fixed the reverb or not. I did find something inside the amp on the back that looked loose, so I pushed it back in. Whether it was anything to do with the reverb circuit, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So I need to give it a bit of volume. I'm just going to go clean channel for now. Everything at 12 o'clock. The reverb's working. Yes, I fixed the reverb. Yeah, so whatever that thing was that I pushed in is fine. So that's just a clean channel. It's also got a bright button. Which sounds really nice, to be honest. And it's also got a mid boost. Try to find something that I like the sound of. Don't need much. That reverb's really nice. I do like that. Strange. Stop now. Right, clean channel. Let's have a see now on the. So we've got a drive channel. Well, two drive channels. That's drive one. Don't want. Where's the master volume now? Where are we? That's what was going on with it. So I have splits, cleaned them all with pot cleaner because it was very crackly. What I didn't do is actually work it, so 2, so let's not want too much. That's an interesting controller. It's called Enhance. I like it. Do you know what? I think it's my guitar actually that's. Did you hear them crackles then I was doing the selector switch? I think. Right, yeah, a bit of an odd test, I guess. I think I need to do a bit of maintenance on my guitar, all those crackling things. Still need to work that mid knob on the overdrive because it's a little bit crackly, but just a bit more contact cleaner in that, I'll sort that out. So, this amp was made on the 15th of May 1999. Now the reason I know it was such a precise date because on the inside there's actually a handwritten quality control check thing, and it was, yeah, so it was made in 1999, which makes it, the maths, we're in 23 now, so it's like, rubbish at maths, 24-year-old, maybe 24, 25 years old. It's vintage. It's a vintage amp, and 24-year-old. Everything, absolutely everything on it is working fine. It just needed a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of TLC, and it's incredibly loud considering it's I think it's a 30 watt. I think it's the 30 watt version. This Tube Fusion 300. I think it's 30 watts, but it's very loud. I'd say it's probably loud enough for gigging because that, where were we? Volume was only sort of halfway there, there's plenty more to go. I suspect that the clean channel as well is a very good platform for pedals. Yeah, I reckon this is the sort of amp that you could just put anything you wanted into the front of the amp and it'll sound great. It does also have an effects loop as well on the back, but I tend to just run my pedals, you know, direct in. Yeah, Tube Fusion 300. Now, what I'm hoping is I've inspired a couple of you to do this sort of stuff yourself, because it's not overly complicated. Just because all I really did was just take it apart, try to see what was wrong with it, and clean it and put it back together. So I've given this 25-year-old, 24-year-old, however old it is, let's just call it 20-year-old amp another 20 years life, easy, just by, you know, a little bit of TLC. I wish I could keep it, but it's got to go back to my mate who I did the work for. Thank you very much for watching.